Hi, everyone. It's the Pirate People podcast from North Central Missouri College's Pirates Digital Media, and I am Rick Cole. Our guest today is North Central Missouri College student Tyler Dove. He's a native of Caulfield, Missouri, a freshman this year who attended high school at Bakersfield, Missouri, where he was involved in FFA, FBLA, FCA, and was a member of the Honor Society. Tyler is a student in our agricultural program and a pretty good example of someone who has taken advantage of what smaller schools have to offer at a very low price at the junior college level. Today on the Pirate People podcast, let's meet Tyler Dove. Tyler, first thing, tell us where you're from and what brought you to North Central.
So I am from southern Missouri, so south central Missouri is where I'm from. There's a little town called Caulfield, Missouri that is... You will drive by it if you blink. It consists of a gas station and a Dollar General. The nearest town I can say is probably Branson, going about 50 miles east of Branson, right around in there. I'm down in the hills and the sticks.
Right.
So, when I was in search of a college, I was looking for something with A+, but I also wanted an agriculture program that I could be involved in, something with a farm. And I was talking around with some other colleges, what ag program do you have? And everybody was kind of coming up with nothing. It's like, oh, we don't have a farm, but we have an ag program. I'm like, how can you have an ag program without a farm? Finally, I got into contact with someone, and they suggested that I reach out to Mr. Jumps.
In our ag department.
In your ag department. And so I reached out with him. I said, hey, someone referred me to you. I'd like to get to know a little bit more. He told me about it, and we eventually set up a date for me to come up here and look at it, and I just absolutely fell in love with the farm.
Nice.
Fell in love with Mr. Jumps, and so I was like, I told my mom when we came up here, we came up for 3 days, I was like, I'm really liking the looks of this place. That's really great. Like it up here.
Yeah.
6 hours away from home, but I can manage that.
Right.
I can manage that.
Why not a big school that offered the same stuff? Because there are some out there.
Yeah, I looked in some of the big schools, and whenever I reached out to them, I really didn't get the same interaction as I did from here at NCMC. They're just like, oh yeah, you're just another kid interested in the program. And whereas when I came up here to Mr. Jumps, he really wanted to know about me and what I wanted to learn about. And so he actually invested in me, took interest in me. And, I kind of didn't get that from the other bigger schools, even though they did have a larger ag program. And I'm from a small school, so I like that personal connection, that personal interaction.
The A+ program I know is big and you mentioned it. Mm-hmm. Tell me how that's affected your education at this point.
It has been a godsend. I have not paid, I think I paid a $6 fee for my seminar class.
$6?
$6 is all I paid for this last semester. And I looked at the bill, and I think it totaled up to around $3,000. And I'm like, that's something I don't have to pay because A+ covered it all. And so besides that little $6 fee, that is all I've paid for this first semester. And that's probably all I'll pay for next semester. And so it has been heavenly because I took one look at the college dorms. I'm like, I'm a bigger kid, so I'm not going to live in a dorm. So I got my own house. So that's definitely helped out financially wise.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. It surprises me sometimes. I find out some of the high schools don't even, they won't trouble themselves with giving that to the kids, that opportunity. I'm amazed by that.
Yeah, coming from a smaller school, they've really pushed it on us because we are in a smaller school, smaller area, you know. And so all the advisors and the counselors, they were like A+, A+, A+. And my graduating class was 40 kids, and I think 30 of us graduated with A+. And we're all using that now.
That's great.
Every single one of us has gone to a community college and using that A+.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very good program. I suggest everybody take it.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the ag program here at North Central Missouri. But first, tell us about when you grew up. You grew up on a farm?
Yeah, I grew up on a farm. I am an Aggie, born and raised.
Born and raised Aggie.
Yeah, I've been in agriculture ever since I was a little kid. Dad literally had me on equipment and diapers. There is a picture floating somewhere. I'm sure my mom has it somewhere in a scrapbook. So I've just grew up in agriculture. I've been around cattle my whole entire life. Right now, myself, my dad, and my mother, we have a 1,000-acre farm in south central Missouri there. Cow-calf operation, the whole works. Beef industry is what we focus on.
Right.
And so I've just been invested in it. 2017, my grandfather died. We inherited the farm. So we've been doing that ever since then. And, we're all involved. I am fully involved with everything, working the cattle, feeding the cattle every single day.
It can be a good life, can't it?
It is a very good and very rewarding life.
Yeah,
And so-
yeah. And do you want to go back to that area when you finish up school?
Yes, that is what I plan on when I finish up school. I actually came up here for just a straight out associate's degree and not a transfer. And Mr. Green in my college seminar has convinced me to look into other schools.
Oh.
And so I'm now actually switching to a transfer degree.
Okay.
And I'm going to get my gen eds and then go on to get a bachelor's in animal science.
Yeah. Have you picked a school yet, or do you know where you'd like to go?
I'm looking very heavily at Northwest. They
Okay.
have really showed some interest in me, and one of the teachers I talked to actually was like, well, would you be interested in finishing out your undergrad up here
Uh-huh.
and coming up there? I was like, no, I kind of like it here. I'm pretty partial to NCMC right now. So,
Right.
But
How were you in school when you were in high school, maybe even before that? What kind of student were you?
I was very much a teacher's pet, kind of say. I mean, I got along with all my teachers, and anything that I could do to get up out of that seat and go do something, because I am a hands-on learner. So you sit me in a class and lecture me for however many hours all day long, I won't learn anything. But as soon as you actually tell me what we're going to do and take me and show me how we're going to do it, and I actually get my hands on, say, like the animal or something in animal science, you tell me, hey, we're going to go give vaccinations, this is how we do it, this is how we're properly doing it. You go out there, go out, give the vaccinations.
Right.
That is how I learn. And so, I mean, it's just working with my hands.
Yeah.
Each and everybody's different.
How has that, being able to learn that way, how has that translated to your classwork here at North Central?
Oh, great, because in plant science and animal science both, they both have a lab attached to them. And in that lab, we'll take what we learned in lecture and go out and actually apply it. Corn yield estimates. I never would have been able to dream about
right?
getting corn yield estimates, because where I'm from, we don't have a row crop farming down there. It is all
Explain that
cow.
to a guy who doesn't know nothing about nothing.
So pretty much once you get south of Missouri River or I-70 is where it starts to get hilly and stuff, so there's not very many row crops down there.
Okay.
So pretty much that whole entire corner of Missouri down there is all cow-calf operations and hay and stockers and stuff like that. So that's what I grew up in down there.
Okay. All right.
Is the cattle side of it down there. So I never learned, soybean estimates, yield estimates. I never learned corn yield estimates, and got up here and Mr. Green goes in class, all right, we're going to learn how to do corn yield estimates. I was like a deer in headlights. I'm like, huh? And he's like, this is what you got to do. You got to take however many kernels on a corn, multiply it by this, a fraction of an acre, and then that's going to get your yield estimate. And we actually got pretty dang close to the actual yield estimate out there at Barton. I think we were like maybe 3 bushels off.
Wow.
And so we did that all by manually in the lab. We went out there, picked the corn, counted the rows, counted the kernels, did it in a fraction of an acre, and we actually got pretty close.
That's
so that
great.
was very fun. I never would have thought I'd done that. So.
Well, what else happens at Barton? Because it's such a unique place, and it's kind of its own little community in a lot of ways. Your class is mostly there?
Like every class I've had this semester has been out there except for 2 classes.
Okay.
I'm out there every single morning. My ecology class is out there, animal science, plant science is out there. The only class that I have here on campus actually is live animal evaluation and college seminar, which is kind of funny because when I was looking for a place to live, I was like, I need to be close to campus. I live a block north of campus here.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
so I'm like, well, now all my classes are out of Barton, so now I got to commute to Barton
Sure.
every morning.
Yeah.
But no, Barton itself is kind of like its own little community out there.
yeah.
We have Ag Club, PAS, which I didn't even know what PAS was.
I don't know what it is.
I never even heard of it until I came to Barton.
What is it?
It is Professional Ag Students Organization.
Okay.
It's kind of like FFA, but on the collegiate level for community colleges.
Okay.
And I competed in that 2 weeks ago. We went to state, and I think I got second in employment interview, second in career application, and first in career specialist.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And it was just kind of a fly by the seat of the
Right,
pants and
right.
just wing it.
How
And
about livestock judging? Do you do that out there? Are you part of that team?
yes, I am. We went to Hutchinson, Kansas earlier on in the fall. And let's see, we got a show coming up in December in Stillwater, Oklahoma. and going down there. So that's been
Nice.
fun. I was part of it in high school and we went to state on high school, so I love it. I know what I'm doing. Mr. Green's a great instructor when it comes to that. He's like, this is what you need to be looking for in the hogs and the sheep, because I have no clue about hogs and sheep.
Right.
I'm like, the pig looks good, so
Right,
I like
yeah,
it.
it looks like
And
good pig.
He's like, no, you need to look at the structure, you need to look at the foot placement, you need to look at meat and all that stuff. And so it's been very fun. I think we got a good spring coming up this year, so really excited for that.
I've got to ask you this, though. I went out there, it might have been 2 years ago, and shot some video. And Rustin Jumps was showing off one of the tractors and was giving some instruction on that. Do you get to drive that stuff? Is that coming up?
I am not in that class. So
Not yet?
That is farm safety.
Okay.
And since I took livestock eval, that kind of took up my hours, my credit hours for the semester. So I wasn't able to get in on that class, even though I would have liked to.
I want to do that.
It's fun.
I want to drive that.
It's fun.
Yeah, I'll
it's
bet
fun.
it is.
There's lots of fun. You can have a lot of fun with some equipment out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And so unfortunately I got to miss out on that class.
Yeah.
But I've had my fair share of equipment over the years.
Oh, I bet you have, yeah.
I'm like, you're not going to teach me anything that I don't know already.
Right.
So
Yeah,
you
sure.
may have a few tricks up your sleeve, but I know a lot out there.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't think about that. I'm sure you have had a lot of experience with that.
Yeah.
And how about the people at North Central? It's the other end of the state. Have you noticed any difference, in terms of how people are treated? Or
I mean, it almost feels like home up here. I mean, everybody's so friendly up here. They may not know me from Adam, but they're like, hey, Tyler, how you doing? I got involved with my landlord going up to a church north of Missouri, and they have just taken me in, and they're like, hey, how you doing? Or every time they see me at work, I work at Westlakes in Chillicothe, they'll come down there and say, hey, how you been? Haven't seen you at church in a while. I'm like, yeah, I've been working here. And so,
Yeah.
But no, everybody's been so accepting of me up here.
That's
And
fantastic.
so, I'm so far away from home, but yet I also have a family up here.
Right. Tyler, you mentioned you're sitting on the skid loader with your dad and your mom. And you would tell us a little bit about your family. What are they like?
So my mom and dad, they got started a little bit later in life with
Okay.
family. My mom had me when she was in her later 30s.
Okay.
And so, and my mother, she's disabled. She's got MS,
Okay.
multiple sclerosis.
That's a tough break.
It is, and she's had it ever since like the late 90s, but it's just slowly progressed. So she's now in a wheelchair, so
Okay.
she has a little bit of mobility issues. And that kind of in turn has forced me to grow up a little bit more and mature a little bit earlier than everybody else. So I've helping her around the house and everything.
Right.
Dad also is disabled. He's got degenerative disc disease.
I don't know what that is.
So pretty much the vertebrae in your spine deteriorate, and then it's just bone on bone, rubbing on bone, and then pinching nerves. So he's in a lot of pain most days, and so I also have to help out there. So they've been great parents to love them to death, would do anything for them, and so I had a pretty good childhood.
And
with them.
I'll bet they're awful proud of you too.
Oh yes, they are. They grin from ear to ear every time they hear of my success.
That's nice.
They were at graduation when I graduated from high school. They were just beaming from ear to ear and glad that I found a college to go on to. And I told them, said, hey, I'm looking at going on to get a bachelor's, and they're
Congrats.
like, great, super excited for me. And so
Okay.
they've been
Siblings?
very good. Nope, I'm an only child.
You're an only child.
I'm the only child. That is a blessing and a curse,
Right.
because I'm the one that gets to do everything, but I don't have anybody else to spread out that responsibility
That's
with.
right.
So,
Right. Is it a big family, an extended family?
no, really. Here in Missouri, it is me, my mother, my dad, and my grandmother,
Okay.
and then my great grandmother-in-law on my
Right,
grandmother's
right.
side. And then, but my dad is actually from Virginia. Originally, is where he's from,
okay.
and Blacksburg, Virginia, out there. And so I've got a couple more
Sure.
cousins and aunts and uncles out there. But
Well, I'm just thinking, that's, what'd you say, 1,000 acres?
1,000 acre, yep.
You must have your hands full when you go home, and they must miss
They
your
definitely
work.
missed me, but Dad makes it work. He manages it. And before I left for college, we downsized, so now we're running
Okay.
about 150, 125 head of cattle. And so he manages it. Just take it day by day. That's all you can do.
Right.
And so, but it's just, I'll talk to him. I'll say how things are going. He said they're going good. Getting ready for winter, getting hay put up.
Yeah.
And down there, we've actually had a little bit of trouble with some drought. A little bit more,
Right,
a little
yep.
bit more of a drought than has been up here, and so
Right.
grass down there is a little bit less than what it should be, and fall pastures don't really exist down there, and so
Hmm.
he's already started feeding hay back in August, and so it's kind of like gritting your teeth as
I've
to see
heard that story. Yeah, I've heard that a
gritting your
little
teeth
bit.
to see what the winter's going to hold. And
Right.
everybody I've been seeing is cutting open persimmons, and they're saying snow, 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 and I'm like, great, that just
Yeah.
means more hay that needs to be fed. So,
Right. Wow.
But, yeah.
What a life.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
he's got a list made out right now for when I come home. I'm actually leaving after this to go back home. He's got a list made up that said, oh, I need fences fixed, I need cattle brought up. I'm like,
I can imagine.
so much for a Thanksgiving break. I get to
Right.
work.
Yeah,
so-
and Christmas.
And Christmas,
Yeah.
same thing there.
Yeah.
but-
When you were younger, did you have any idea that there was so much science involved in the agriculture world?
I did not know. I was thought, oh yeah, you just turn a cow out in the field and let
Right.
it eat grass. I had no clue as to how the actual animal worked and digested that food. I've learned that through animal science, and how a horse digests is different than a cow, and what we need to do. What feed do we need to put in front of them to make sure they get the most gain and the most output? And so I had no clue there was that much in-depth science before it, that is involved with it. My mother, she was part of Elanco, which is an animal science sales rep, and I call her a drug dealer because that's what she was. She
Of
was a
course.
sales rep going around from farm to farm, Anybody that knows anything about agriculture or cattle, or Micatil, that was a big one that she was selling a lot. And so I knew there's a little bit of science involved. I didn't know how in-depth it went, though,
Right.
until I got up here to North Central, and Mr. Jumps and Mr. Green's like, we're going to break it down to the exact molecule and the exact cell of how this does this. And I'm like, deer in headlights, what? And let's step that back.
learned
and
fast enough.
Step that back, and let's talk about this for a minute. And so
That's
yeah.
wonderful. Last thing is this. You've been here for almost a full semester now. What are you looking forward to learning next?
I'm looking forward to my schedule next semester, because even though it doesn't have any ag classes, which I'm kind of bummed about because I'm switching to a gen ed major, I'm looking forward to meeting the new teachers, and I've heard a lot of good things about them. And so and plus, the way my schedule is set up, I should be done by 12 o'clock every day, so that's kind of nice.
That is good.
Have the evenings free to catch up on homework and do this and go to work also. So
Well, Tyler, I've heard a lot of good things about you, and they've all turned out to be true. So thank you for joining us for the podcast.
my pleasure to be here.
And-
I'm glad you invited me.
And you give your parents a hug for us, okay?
I will.
And boy, I hope you do well. I'm sure you will, and continued success with the ag department here.
I plan on it.
Our thanks to North Central Missouri College student Tyler Dove, who's working on his degree in the NCMC Ag program. And thanks to you for listening. For now, we say goodbye and go Pirates.